Good morning, my viewers. Good morning, my learners back at home. My name is Micheal Muchiri. Once again, we are back here for a social studies lesson. Last time it was fun. Today, I promise you, you're going to learn a lot and you're going to enjoy the lesson. So sit there, relax, prepare yourself, and we said, anytime we are having a lesson, it is very much important for you to have a book. It is very much important for you to have a pen. It is very much important for you to focus on this particular lesson. Today, I don't want us to do much. I just want us to cover a unit that teachers probably covered in some schools, and maybe in other schools they never covered. And this is a unit which is one of the units taught in primary schools. I said last time that social studies has got 9 units, and today I want to lay much emphasis on Unit 8, which is Law, Peace, and Conflict Resolution. And I believe the best thing is to start with introduction of some of those terms. Law, what do you understand by the term law? What do you understand by the term law? Law refers to the rules that a country uses to govern its people. We also have peace. What do you understand by peace? Peace is simply what we call a state of there being no conflict, a state of there being no war. That is what we call peace. We also have the term conflict. Conflict in this particular case means that there is a disagreement. You can be having a disagreement between you and your teacher, you and your parent, you and any other person. That is what we call conflict. And then we have resolution. A resolution is simply a solution to that particular conflict. Conflict resolution is a combination of 2 words, which means that you are trying to solve a conflict that was there previously. You are trying to come up with an agreement towards getting a lasting peace. So law, peace, and conflict resolution and related questions. Now, candidate, there is this particular area which most of the learners have a challenge with: identifying the symbols of national unity and identifying the factors that promote national unity. I want to start with identifying the symbols of national unity. Now, there at home, tell me, what are the symbols of national unity? Thank you very much. We have 4 symbols of national unity. One of them is what we call the national flag. Number 2, we have what we call the national anthem, as you can see on your screen. Number 3, we have what we call the public seal. And number 4, we have what we call the coat of arms. These are the 4 symbols that are known as symbols of national unity. Why are they called symbols of national unity? The reason is they distinguish our country, Kenya, from the rest of the countries. You can differentiate our country from the others. Therefore, they are used as a symbol of our nation, Kenya. I want to start by describing some of the things that are found in our national flag. One of them, of course, when you look at our national flag, the main thing that you see are the colors. Imagine, those colors are very much important because each of them represents something that is wonderful. For example, the topmost color of our national flag is black. Black represents our color. Look at my color. I have my unique color as an African, which is different from people from Asia, different from people from Europe. That is one of the things that represents that the people who live in Kenya, most of them are Africans, and that is why they have that dark color, which is represented in our flag in the symbol of black color. Number 2, we have what we call the white color. Color white in this particular case represents the peace that we enjoy as a country. Even right now as we speak, there are some countries in Africa, there are some countries in the whole world that are still fighting, but our country is at peace. I think the only war that we are having right now is the invisible war of Corona. But in this particular case, we are enjoying the peace because we are not fighting among ourselves. We have another color, which is the red color. This color represents the blood that was shed by our freedom fighters. They fought those people who colonized our country, and they were able to emerge victorious. And they shed a lot of blood trying to restore peace and to restore independence in our country, which we enjoyed previously. And this is what we are enjoying now as I speak, because that is part of independence. And the last color that we have is the green color. The green, in this case, represents the vegetation. The vegetation cannot exist in an area where we don't have fertility, where we don't have enough rainfall. So the color green represents the fertile land. It represents the crops that Kenya grows to sell. It represents the colors that the crops that Kenya grows for its people in terms of food and what have you. So colors are very important in our national flag. At the central part of it, you can see we usually have a shield and we have the spears. These ones are readiness to defend our country at all cost. That is one of the symbols of national unity. Another symbol of national unity that we have is the national anthem. Our national anthem is sung in two languages. We have English language and we have Swahili language. Anytime we are singing this song, it is a prayer for our country. Anytime we are singing this song, it is our wishes as Kenyans. So our national anthem being a prayer, it reminds us about some of these few issues. One, our wishes as a country. Number two, the readiness to defend our Republic of Kenya at all costs. And I believe that is what we are doing right now. Our government is very keen on defending its citizens against this pandemic that has come without our consent. Defending our justice. Remember, justice is equity before the law for all of us. We are supposed to enjoy justice at all costs. We have our magistrates, we have our judges, we have our court system. These courts are for all of us because they use our laws in this particular country. The other one is to protect our national heritage, national heritage. Heritage in this case refers to those things that we inherited that are good from our ancestors. How can we preserve them, including the animals that are in existence? We as a country should protect them at all costs for our future generation. It also reminds us how we should live with peace, how we should live with love, how we should embrace our national unity, and we should also enjoy our liberty. So our national flag has so much that it represents. Our national anthem as well has so much that it communicates to us. So anytime you sing our national anthem, make sure you respect it, because apart from it being a prayer, it is also part of us as a country, and that is what we use to propel us as we continue growing our country. Symbol number 3, coat of arms. The coat of arms. Our coat of arms is very important. Why is it important? One, it is used as our national badge. It is used as our national emblem. This badge, you are likely to find it appearing in very important items. For example, look at the ID of your parents. If you look at it, you will find there is a coat of arms in it. Look at the passports that we use. You will also realize that these passports that are used, the visas that we use that belongs to our country, they have what we call the coat of arms in them. The official president's car does not have a number plate. The presidential car that he uses for official duties, it bears this coat of arms as its number plate, instead of the number plate, that is. The berets that are worn by our government officials, like the district commissioners, like the county commissioners, those berets that they put on, usually has got the coat of arms in it. Coat of arms consist of other things like the crops, the pyrethrum that we grow, the tea that we grow. You are also likely to find it in the coat of arms. It also has got the statement which we use as our national motto, Harambe, putting resources together, coming together for development. And through Harambee, our country has been able to come up with very good schools, with very good hospitals. So coat of arms is a very important symbol of national unity. The last one is the public seal. The public seal. A seal in this particular case is like a signature, is like a stamp. It is used by the government to stamp or to approve documents that belongs to the government. Therefore, we can say that the public seal is very important for the government because that is what it uses to approve the documents to be given to anybody who wants to access them. It has the coat of arms in it, and we have discussed a whole lot of the importance of the coat of arms. You are going to realize that the public seal consists of the coat of arms, which has got the words at the bottom. The public seal has got words at the bottom of it, written there, Kenya government. What does it mean? When we talk of Kenya government, it means that this is something that is very important for the government, and it is only used by the Kenya government and not any other person. So don't try to design yours. Otherwise, you may land yourself into problems and you may not like what is likely to come after. Now, Lana, I want us to move to the next step and talk about some of the factors that promote national unity. Factors that promote national unity. Remember, as I started, when I was starting, I told you there is the difference between the symbols of national unity and the factors that promote. As you can see on your screen, we have the factors that promote and we have factors that undermine. To promote is to encourage. To undermine is to interfere with in a negative way. And I want us to start with factors that promote national unity. I believe you can see that very clearly on your screen. Number one, we have the Constitution. The Constitution. Our Constitution, which was promulgated on 27th of August 2010. We voted for it on 4th of August in 2010 in order for us to have a new constitution. This constitution is the supreme law. It is what all the other laws are anchored to. And therefore, anytime we are using our national constitution, we should know very well that this constitution represents our unity as Kenyans, because it does not choose that it is going to work for this person and not for this other person. It is for all of us. So the Constitution of Kenya, the supreme law, it has 18 chapters, which we call elements. And the main chapter there that we enjoy as citizens is chapter 4, which consists of our rights that we enjoy every day. Number 2, we have the use of national language. Do you understand Swahili? That is our national language. That is the language that most Kenyans communicate using. So Swahili being our national language, it is used by all the communities. I may not understand your language. I may not understand the other person's language, but in Kiswahili, basic Kiswahili communication can be made by all people, young and old. Number 3, we have a uniform curriculum. Today as we speak, the curriculum that we are using is the 844 up to class 5. Then we have the CBC from grade 4 downwards. These two curriculums are operating to all members of this country, to all the children in this country, apart from those probably who are studying the international curriculum. But Kenyans who are in our public schools, Kenyans who are in our private schools, they are using this uniform curriculum system of education. We have the socio-economic interactions. Socio-economic interactions. We interact in so many ways. We interact in social gatherings, sports, we interact through trade. These things bring us together, and that is why I said unity is when we are together and when we are performing our things as a united group. We talk about equal distribution of resources. And resources that we are saying that should be distributed equally are not resources like land. We cannot distribute land equally. We cannot distribute property equally. It is the national cake. If the government collects money through taxes, how is that money distributed to all the citizens to benefit in development projects, building roads, building hospitals? If this money is not distributed well, then it means there is some sort of segregation, and that one is not very good for our country, because people will feel, I think a certain quota is loved than the other. Therefore, this money should be divided equally in form of CDF and the other fundings that the government uses. We have our national philosophies. National philosophies. A philosophy is a belief that we have as a country. Kenya has had 3 philosophies. The first one was the African Socialism, which was established in 1965 by Mzee Jomo Kenyatta and Tom Mboya. This one is a philosophy that looks into equality, human dignity, traditions. It has a lot that it carries. The other philosophy is the Harambee philosophy, which was introduced by Jomo Kenyatta in the year 1963. This one has led to development of schools and hospitals. And up to now, I believe people do Harambees. These Harambees are to help each other, and they bring us together in order for us to try and uplift each other's welfare. And the last philosophy is what we call Nyayoism, which was introduced by the late Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi in the year 1978. It was anchored into the 3 pillars, that is the peace, love, and unity. And I believe up to date, we are people who love each other as a country. And anytime a Kenyan has found themselves into problems, I always find the other Kenyan assisting without asking them, where do you come from? That is a way of showing that as a country, we are united, and we get united even when we are not expected, because we are made of who we are as Kenyans. Then we have the government policy. What about the government policy and being a factor promoting national unity? This is it. Anytime you are employed by the government to serve as a civil servant, you can be deployed in any part of this country to work. It doesn't matter the language you communicate, because I said the first thing that you need to know is Swahili. Swahili being the language of communication in Kenya as a national language, you can communicate to very many people from all corners of this country. Therefore, government policy of deploying its workers from any part of this country is a way of promoting national unity. The National Assembly. The National Assembly in our country is, has got 290 members of parliament who are elected to represent the 290 constituencies. It is very important to know that these constituencies are in Kenya, and this is where all the Kenyans are, meaning anytime you see the parliamentarians seated in that assembly, they are discussing about us because they represent us. They are our representatives. That is why we elected them to serve. Therefore, it is very, very much important for us to know that these 8 factors that are listed on our screens are some of the factors that promote national unity in Kenya. Let us talk about factors that undermine national unity now. Factors that undermine national unity. What is to undermine? To undermine is to look down, is to interfere with in a negative way. One of them is what we are calling tribalism, or the negative ethnicity. When I speak my language and you don't like it, that one means that you are not embracing me. And I believe we should not be communicating using our mother tongue in public. That is why we have Swahili as our national language. Avoid using mother tongue in public. But when you're conversing with a fellow person from your community, then I believe that has no problem. But anytime you are speaking, anytime you are raising a question in class, anytime you are raising a question in school, make sure you use the language that is being understood by each and every person. The other one is nepotism, favoring family members. Favoring family members in employment, favoring family members in opportunities that arises. It is not good for us to favor family members. make sure that you offer opportunities to all people. Look at the qualifications rather than how you are related. Look at what they can, the value they can add to that particular area of concern. Talk about greed. Sometimes we baptize greed as corruption. This is theft. This is trying to benefit from public property. It is not right. So anytime you talk about greed, anytime you talk about corruption, they are trying to take what belongs to us and citizens, and that is why you find Kenyans becoming very angry in such a situation. It is important as leaders in this country to note that Kenyans are watching. Children in this Republic of Kenya are watching, and they are seeing each and everything that we do. So let us embrace equality instead of stealing from our country, instead of being corrupt members, because this one is likely to undermine our unity as Kenyans. Political selfishness. We are the ones. We are the only ones who are supposed to be at this particular position. We are the only ones who are supposed to be given this particular cabinet secretary position. That is political selfishness. Why should it only be from your area? It can be from any other particular community, as long as the person being appointed in that particular position is qualified. Am I communicating, Lana? I am talking a lot, but it is important for all of us to follow closely, because I believe you are still making some points. For those who are still watching us, I believe it is important for us to communicate to the others. I believe we have our YouTube page. You can also get us there later under KUTV Kenya. You can get us through Facebook page, KUTV Kenya, at Twitter, hashtag KUTV Kenya. You can also be in a position to watch us live like you're doing. Talk about regionalism. Regionalism simply means dividing Kenya. Why should we be divided? I think the clarion call here is for us to be united. We should not be divided. So regionalism is a way of trying to divide Kenya into regions. Kenya should remain the way it is. Even when we have the 47 counties, we still have a national government which gives part of its correction to the national, to the county government. So regionalism should not be the only option. It is important, yes, because it brings services closer to the people, but we should still remain focused as a nation that we belong to Kenya and not to regions only. Talk about an equal distribution of national resources. An equal distribution of national resources. I said the resources that we are talking about here are those that we collect from the taxation. The other one is racism and color segregation. Racism, or what we call the color segregation. This is where you look at me as a black because you're white and you look down on me. We should not look at each other that way, because all of us, regardless of our color, are very important and we offer services equally. The difference is color, but not the brain capacity. The difference is color only. The other one, and the last one in this particular case, is the religious conflict. You are a Muslim, you are a Hindu, I'm a Christian, and probably all of us are living in one area. We should respect each other that way. That is my religion and I chose it. That is your religion and you chose it. Stick to it, worship the way you usually worship, and we continue with our activities, because we are not interfering with each other's life simply because of being a member of a particular religion. It is important to know that factors that promote national unity are those that brings us together, and factors that undermine national unity are those that subdivides us, that makes us hate each other, and it is not good. Candidate, I want us to move to the next level, and that is the content that is covered in class 8, but I want to touch a little bit on the content that is covered in class 7 on conflict resolution. Therefore, the next one is ways of solving conflict. Ways of solving conflict. On your screen, I have listed as 7 points ways of solving conflict. The first one is what we call negotiation. Negotiation simply means a direct discussion between parties involved. Direct discussion between parties involved. Direct discussion in this case is when you are talking one-on-one with that person. The parties involved. I have a conflict with you. We decide to sit down and discuss about that particular issue. That is what we call negotiation. Sometimes negotiation may require a third party called the negotiator. But the negotiator in this case is only to try and reduce the heat that may erupt from the disagreement that we have. Dialogue is another way of resolving conflict. Dialogue. This is conversation held between the conflicting parties, and I believe this is the best method that we should use to solve conflicts in schools between teacher and learner, learner and learner. Dialogue is the best because you converse, you discuss, and you try to solve the problem that is at hand. Mediation. I want you to be very clear here. I want you to be very keen here. Mediation, arbitration. This is one of the areas that I find candidates having a challenge. Mediation refers to a situation whereby you solve conflict by involving a third party who helps or who assists in trying to come up with a solution. It's not the decision maker, I want you to note that, but a person to assist the conflicting parties to agree. This is the role that was played by Kofi Annan in the 2007-2008 post-election violence that was in Kenya. He was a mediator and not an arbitrator. What is the difference between a mediator, third party, and an arbitrator? An arbitrator in this case is a third party who officially settles a conflict. Is a third party who officially settles a conflict. This person decides on what should be done. Will come up with a modality of how things should go. So this person resolves the conflict. I believe we are clear there now. Mediator and arbitrator. That one, please don't confuse the two. Let's move to the next one. That is the judicial settlement. Judicial settlement. Taking a matter to the court of law, whereby you will find a magistrate for the magistrate court, whereby you will find a judge for the superior court. The court systems in Kenya, probably we can remind ourselves. The highest court is the Supreme Court. We have the second one being the Court of Appeal. Then we have the High Court. Those three courts, we call them the appellate courts or the superior courts. Then down there we have the magistrates courts, where we find the magistrates presiding over cases. A magistrate is appointed by Judicial Service Commission, whereas a judge is appointed by the president. Let's move on. We have said judicial settlement is taking the matter to the court of law. This method is also known as litigation. If you have a conflict and you decide to take that case to a court of law, then we say that you have taken litigation as a way of solving conflict. Then we have inquiry. Inquiry as our sixth way of solving conflict. It involves investigations. Remember, to investigate is to gather information. To investigate is to get information. In inquiry, the information that is gathered is used as a basis of negotiation. Therefore, inquiry is not a very clear way of solving conflict as per se, but a way of collecting information that is later used to try and come up with a solution through negotiation. Then the last one is what we call conciliation. Conciliation is more or less the same as mediation. We said mediation is a third party who assists. Conciliation, again, we involve a third party, but in this particular case, the third party is an international body or a commission. Is an international body or a commission. Their main work is to act as a conciliator. And the third party in this case is the one that assists to come up with a solution to that particular problem. Are we still together? Good communication. And I can see back there at home you are watching and you are moving together with me. Continue taking notes. It's very, very important. Before I go to some of the questions that were tested in KCPE, I want us to remind ourselves about lawlessness. Lawlessness is another subtopic that is taught under the Unit 8, Law, Peace and Conflict Resolution, that refers to a situation where people fail to obey the laws of a country. They decide to do things the way they want without considering the laws that the country has set. Lawlessness can lead to so many things, can lead to destruction of property, can lead to people killing each other and so many other things. So you will find some of the questions being tested by the examiner at the end of the year on maybe 23rd of October. If you find such a question, please know where it has come from. I have covered a lot in this particular area, and we will still continue covering here at KUTV Elimu Live as we progress. Let us look at some of the questions that were tested in KCPE, past papers that I have gathered, so that we can be in a position to know where am I supposed to revise. For example, one of my questions was a KCPE question 2000, question 51, and the question was, 3 of the following are symbols of national unity in Kenya. Which one is not? Which one is not? I took you through the factors that the symbols of national unity, and I said there are 4. Which of them is not among those that I listed earlier? Candidate? Correct. The armed forces. Maybe I can elaborate a bit about the armed forces. Armed forces is what today we refer to as the Kenya Defense Forces, which is one of the national security organs. The Kenya Defense Forces is subdivided into 3. We have the Kenya Army, which deals with the protection of our country borders on land. We have the Kenya Navy, which protects our country against external attacks on territorial waters like the Indian Ocean and probably Lake Victoria. Then we have the Kenya Air Force, which protects our country against external attacks on air. They use jets, the aeroplanes. They protect our airspace against any attack. These 3 are the ones that combined together, they form what we call the Kenya Defense Forces. Remember, we usually say the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. The president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He can declare war to any country using these Kenya Defense Forces, but only through the approval of the National Assembly, only through the approval of the National Assembly. So the correct answer to that question, KCP 2000 question 51, was supposed to be armed forces, because the question is asking for which one is not a symbol of national unity. I believe the one that we are supposed to put there is the public seal. Question number 2, we look at the question number 2. The color of the national flag of Kenya, which represents peace. The color of the national flag of Kenya, which represents peace. We have white, green, black, and red. We said it is white. Why white? White means peace. Actually, even in the layman's language, anytime you see white, it shows some sort of peace, some sort of there is no problem. But when you see red, in most cases, red shows danger. And that is why I said in our national flag, the red shows the blood that people who fought for our country shed. And anytime you're shedding blood, it is not through a very simple way. It is when you are struggling. It is when you are feeling pain. You cannot shed blood when it is very peaceful. So white represents peace in this particular case, and it is the correct answer. Question number 3. Look at question number 3. KCP 2003, question 54. Who among the following leaders is responsible for keeping law and order in a location in Kenya? Remember, Kenya is subdivided into counties, that is the 47 counties, each of them under the governor as the head, and the county commissioner as the senior most administrator representing the president in that county. County commissioner is also in charge of security in the county. Then below it, we have the sub-county. The sub-county is headed by the sub-county commissioner. Initially, we used to call the sub-county the district, and the districts were being headed by the district commissioners. Then we have the division headed by the district officer. Then we have the location headed by the chief. This is the question. The chief is the one who is in charge of law and order within the location. If you look at it keenly, go to your chief's camp. You will find some administration officers who are together with the chief there. What is the work of these administration officers? These administration officers are to help the chief to maintain law and order in that particular location. It is therefore the reason why we say the chief is in charge of security in a location. There is a particular question I want to connect with this, although it is not under this unit, which was tested, and it was asking, who registers a child who has been born at home? It is still the chief. The chief is the one who has the document where to register a person who has died within the location at home, and a child who was born at home within the location. Anytime those two cases are realized in a village, then you go direct to the chief for registration, and you will be given a notification on the same. We move to the next question and talk about question number 4. Question 4. Question 4 is asking, question 4, on your screen, you will see it there. Let us read together. Which of the following statement is true about the national flag in Kenya? Which of the following is true about the national flag of Kenya? It is a symbol of national unity? Yes, that is very true, because we mentioned the symbols of national unity. It was given to Kenya by the British? No. This is our own flag. This is our own design. Actually, it was taken to the top of the flag mast when we brought down the British flag. When they were colonizing our country, they put their flag on topmost and they lowered ours. And when we were able to acquire our independence, we had to make sure that our flag is the one that is up there. And their flag was known as the Union Jack. We brought it down, and ours is the one that nowadays is on top there, showing our independence. I said the national flag is our symbol of independence. Therefore, you cannot say it was given to us by the British. Its color represents the arms of government. No, I have described all the colors and their meaning, and therefore you cannot say that it represents the arms of government. We have 3 arms of government. That is the executive, headed by our beloved president. We have the judiciary, which is headed by the Chief Justice, and we have the legislature, which has got speakers in it. We have the speaker in the Senate, we have the speaker in the National Assembly, and we have the 2 being the heads of the houses they represent. It was inherited from the freedom fighters. No. We cannot say that it was inherited from the freedom fighters. The freedom fighters in this particular case are represented by the color red, because they are the people who fought for our independence. But we have all the other colors and the other symbols representing other things. So we cannot only attribute it to those people who fought for our independence. So the correct statement in this question is that it is the symbol of national unity. KCPE 2019, that is last year, question 56. The following are effects of lawlessness in a school. which one is not? Effects of lawlessness. I talked about lawlessness, and I said lawlessness refers to a situation where people are not obeying the laws. In a school, if you fail to obey the rules that are found, that are set in a school, then the foreign effects will be there. Which one won't be an effect? I want us to differentiate between effects and causes. Effects, in Swahili we say, ni matokeo. What will come after something has happened or a result is what we call its effects. Then we have the causes. Causes ni chanzo, something that starts another thing. Now, let's go through that. Destruction of school property. Is that one an effect? Remember, we are saying effects is something that is likely to come after lawlessness has taken place. And that one is one of the effects, destruction of school property, if you don't obey the rules. Number two, frequent fights among the pupils. Yes, they will fight, definitely. Why? Because they don't know that if you fight, it means you are not obeying the rules. They know that, but they are assuming, because they are assuming the rules are no longer practical. There will be fights. Lagging behind of development. If you destroy the school property, will there be development? The answer is a big no. Improper sharing of books. This one is a cause. So D is not an effect, but a cause. Because when there is improper sharing of books, that one will lead to interference with the school unit, and therefore there will be lawlessness coming from that. So the correct answer to question number 5 is improper sharing, because this one is a cause and not an effect. Number 6, KCP 2019, question 54, still last year. One of the factors that undermine national unity in the society is undermining. We said it is to interfere with in a negative way. 1, participating in trade. That is very positive. Trade gives a very great benefit to us as individuals and to the country. Number 2, we have choice B, we have participating in sporting activities. When we participate in sporting activities, 1, we are having physical development in ourselves. Again, we are also developing our social status as a country. So this one is going to promote unity in a way. Intermarriage between communities. When communities intermarry, it is also very, very important. My question is, when we intermarry, how is this one going to add to the national unity? 1, intermarriage involves different communities. This community and this other community. That means if the two are together and probably the two communities were not in good terms, that one will no longer be there, because the two have got some aspects from the two communities and therefore they are united. None of them will speak ill about the other community. That way, it promotes unity. Poor distribution of resources. Poor distribution of resources. Is it likely to undermine national unity when we talk about poor distribution of national resources? Resources should be distributed equally. If they are not distributed equally, then that one is likely to have something that is going to bring about lawlessness. So the question was, which one of the following factors undermine national unity in the society? Which one is it? And it is poor distribution of national resources. Let's get to the next question, and that is question number 7. Peter and Maina, on the screen you can see it there. Peter and Maina had disagreements on ownership of a piece of land. They decided to go to a court of law to resolve the conflict. The method they used is, you remember our statements at first when we were talking about ways of solving conflict. We talked about going to the court of law, what we named as litigation. So Peter and Maina decided to use litigation as a method of solving conflict. And the correct answer in this case is option C, which is litigation. My last question that I want to give to you is question number 8. Which of the following statement describes negotiation as a way of resolving conflicts in the society? Which of the following statement describes negotiation as a way of resolving conflict in the society? I say negotiation is a direct discussion. In the choices that we are given there, look at them again. Discussing the matter with one another. Is that one involving direct discussion? Yes. Asking for forgiveness. Is that one really discussing? No, I think asking for forgiveness is coming from one person, but you are not discussing. You are asking for you to be forgiven, which can also be a way of solving conflict. Involving the third party. Involving the third party. Third party can be there as a negotiator, but here we are talking about discussion, taking the matter to the court, that is the litigation. So the most correct answer here is discussing the matter with one another. This is what we call negotiation. This is what we call solving conflict through negotiation. So this is a unit that we have covered here. And I believe if we are in a position to continue this way, we are going to do a lot. So kindly, candidate, as you prepare for your KCPE there at home, there is one thing I want to remind you. It is important to read. Get books, get questions, sample them the way I have sampled them. Try to look for the answers from the books. Stop guessing. Stop trying to joke around with words so that you get the most appropriate one. It all depends with you. Sit down with books, with questions, analyze your work, and you will find yourself scoring very well. So I want to remind you once again as we wind up. One, you can get this lesson through YouTube. You can also be in a position to continue following us live every Monday to Friday. We have teachers right here teaching you different subjects all through both primary schools and secondary schools candidates, because we don't want you to blame teachers. We are teachers and we mind about your welfare a lot. Take time, listen to us, take notes, and I know by the end of it all, you will benefit from that teaching that we are giving you. Until next time, I wish to stop at that, and may God bless you as you continue revising. Goodbye.